All right, so Sandra Kirkwold versus Louis Lamour. Who would win? My boys keep playing. If I remember correctly, the older boys did this too, but right now the little boys have this game they like to play. Daddy, a rhinoceros versus a dump truck. Who would win? Yeah, and sometimes they'll, it started with the superheroes. Daddy, Batman versus Superman. Who would win? And it's gotten down to kind of to be far-ranging. They do anything. So Sandra Kirkwold versus Louis Lamour. Who would win? First off, you got to know who Sandra Kirkwold is, which I don't. I have no idea who she is. But she left a couple of comments on some videos, on one of the militia videos, that raised a good question, but buried that question beneath layers of anger and hatred and vitriol and just ugly accusations. She claims now the comments were deleted. They were not deleted by me. I don't know if any of our moderators got to them. It's possible. We've got good moderators, and her comments were probably outside the pale of what we would normally allow. I was going to leave them just because they're accusations against sort of me and American men in general. What she said, she was on one of the militia videos. She said, "When will the American men ever rise? They'll never rise. They're cowards. They're all talk." And she used a lot of profanity, which I use profanity too, but just try not to do it in public. And it was a pretty angry screed, but her basic question was good. When will the militia rise? And I was gonna address it in a militia video, but then I said, you know what? No, this question kind of, her attitude and the way she asked it and her question was the exact opposite of everything this channel's about. And so I thought I'd just address it directly. So, Miss Kirkwold, here's the answer. There's the easy answer. There's the quick answer. It's none of your business. This is the domain of men. This is an issue for men to decide amongst themselves. It has nothing to do with you. When the time comes, we'll let you know. You won't have to let you know. You'll probably know. Now after that, it gets really complex. And I should stop and say that I'm not entirely sure that Miss Kirkwold isn't a leftist provocateur here, just trying to get someone to say something stupid. Some of her comments were coming from a place that I can't believe any militia supporter / patriot would ever come from. They were that angry. They were angry enough and bitter enough and hateful enough that they almost had to come from the left. But I don't know that. I don't know anything about this woman, except that what she said on here. But once you deal with that, mind your own business. This isn't your concern. There's a lot to unwrap in there. This is an onion. You start pulling apart. So where does Louis Lamour come in? Well, when she first made these angry comments, I got angry myself and reacted angrily, which is never the right response. It's never going to, change hearts and minds. You're never going to win the real battle that way. But I got angry. But after I settled down and thought about it, an old Louis Lamour short story came to my mind. And if you don't know, you know who Louis Lamour is. He wrote westerns. He wrote some of John Wayne's great westerns were based off of Louis Lamour novels. Hondo was the big one, and then Tom Selleck and Mustache. Oh, I can't believe he's great. Your dad looks like him sometimes when he grows up.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, jeez. Sam Elliott and Tom Selleck were in a couple of Louis Lamour movies too. But the novels are really good. I mean, they're not like, deep literature, but they're just really good, masculine, sort of, Mariah calls them cheeseburgers. I mean, if she wants to read an entertaining book that's easy and it doesn't take a lot of, or Big Mac? You call it a Big Mac. She calls it a Big Mac. They're Big Macs, but they're really good as far, there's just a lot of kind of man stuff in there. In a way, men can digest it because it's not like hammered at you. It's kind of, oh my God, there went something interesting and kind of thoughtful. But he had a short story, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name of it. But in this short story, there's it's set in the Old West, and there's this miner, a younger man, kind of a big, strong, slow, quiet, reliable man, and he has this young, beautiful, hot, fiery wife, and this is opposites attract kind of a thing, and this wife just doesn't understand this husband. She thinks he's a coward. She thinks he's stupid. She can't believe she married him. She's got this bandito boyfriend who she wants to run off with, and she keeps telling her husband that her bandito boyfriend is going to come kill him and take her away, and how stupid he is and how useless he is. And he's dragged her out into the middle of the wilderness, and he's looking for gold, and he'll never find it, and he's an idiot. In the meantime, the husband, who will not justify himself to this wife, is working on this giant vein of gold in this really dangerous place, and this whole cliff might fall down on him as he's trying to get all this gold out so he can give his crazy woman of his this life she wants. In the meantime, her bandito boyfriend is coming to rescue her and kill him, and in the end, the bandito boyfriend shows up, the mountain collapses, and the husband just like kills the boyfriend like offhandedly without even thinking about it, and this wife there sort of then sat with her eyes wide and her hair blown back, realizing this whole time, she's had this amazing husband. Miss Kirkwold's screed reminded me of this woman who was railing against something she didn't understand and couldn't appreciate. Are American men where we want them to be? No. No man is ever where we want them to be. I'm not where I want to be. I've got 30 little secrets that I don't talk about that if you knew, you'd be like, oh my God, I thought he was this. And, we're all trying to get better than we are. So that's my first thought. Miss Kirkwold doesn't even understand who she's talking about or who she's railing against. American men, yes, they're not where they're supposed to be. But we can get them there. Or they can get there. And when the mountain does collapse and the bandito shows up, there's going to be a lot of shocked wives around. I'm going to get far afield. I didn't mean to go this far, but right before we switched to being Torah observant and changed our eating habits, we had a big pig roast. We had a pig and we slaughtered the pig. And we had a bunch of people over here, and there was probably 50, 60 people here from church and work, and it was a really good time. But we roasted this pig, and we just had the whole pig on a big spit, and we pulled it off and threw it up on a sheet of plywood, and about 5 or 6 men ended up around this thing ripping off hunks of meat off of this pig and just eating it by the hand. And at one point I looked over, and there's this guy I know from work who's kind of a big, strong, goofy guy, good guy, and he's got this beautiful, very mainstream wife. I mean, when his wife showed up, it was the first time I'd met her. I'm like, what are you doing with this guy? He's an electrician and, kind of lunky and big, and he always wears shirts with the sleeves cut off. And she came in looking like, upper middle class soccer mom. And her husband, I looked over at one point and I saw her, and her eyes were like this. I mean, they were just wide, and she was stock still. And I looked where she was looking, and there was her husband with the pig skull in his hands, trying to eat the eyeballs out of the pig skull. And it was obvious she'd never met this man before. She'd been married to him for 20 years and shared his bed in his life, but she'd never met him. There's going to be a lot of American women like that when the time comes. Their eyes are going to be big, and they're going to be, who's this guy? So, Miss Kirkwold, you'll probably be surprised when the time comes. But to the question, when will the American man rise and fix this problem? It's legitimate. Things are in a mess. I mean, I don't even have to list everything off for you. You could do the litany yourself. You're right. The American man should have risen 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, probably 1919, and fix this thing. But they didn't, and they have been quietly and steadily and relentlessly distracted, and not just distracted, but I don't know, led astray. And it's our own fault. We can't blame anyone else. It's our fault. Men have ultimate moral authority and agency over themselves and their families, so we can't blame anybody. But we're not at the place where it's time to start drawing up battle plans. If we ever got to the place where it was time to start drawing up battle plans, we wouldn't have to draw up battle plans, because the gravity and the inertia and the weight of all those men standing up and saying no, they wouldn't have to do anything else. That's the beauty of the militia. If it's functioning, if it's right, if it's there, they don't probably ever have to fight. So Ms. Kirkwold, we're not at that point. We're not drawing up battle plans. We're waking the giant, and that's all I can tell you. If you're looking for the barricades to go up and manning the ramparts, well, that's a suicide mission right now. And there'd just be a lot of Randy Weavers, a lot of Ruby Ridges, a lot of Wacos, yada yada, on and on and on, and the cause would be lost. So calm down, deep breaths, slow down, deal with that anger and that bitterness in your heart. I'm not sure what man has hurt you. If you're legitimate, if you're not legitimate, then you're just causing trouble. When the time comes, well, the time has come, but we're going to get there. The way to do it is not to tear men down and beat them up and grind them into the dirt any farther than they already have been. It's to remind them who they are and what they're capable of and what their responsibilities are. Hey, man, I know this was kind of a weird video. It's sort of aimed at just one person, and if you didn't see those comments, it might not make all that much sense, but it was one I thought had to be addressed. We appreciate you. Thank you.